Hey guys, it's Access Denied with a deck profile for Cyberdarks, using new cards from the structure deck Cyberstyle Successor. As a note, this is before the final card reveal and Cyberdark Chimera being coded for EDO Pro. Remember to like, sub, and subscribe if you love my voice. We're going to be taking a look at two builds, a control build and a turbo build. Once Chimera gets out, I'll have updated deck lists, but working with what I have onto the deck. Starting out, we have a playset of Cyberdark Dragon's materials, Horn, Edge, and Keel. Are we building a boat? Yes, we are building a boat. Playset of Edge because it's the best one with the flyover effect. Cyberdarks are a helmet control deck like Bujin's. They need to do things in the battle phase to gain advantage, and Edge enables that even if your opponent has a monster with more attack, so 3x of it. Max out on our Brick Searcher Cyberdark Cannon, the OG Cyberdarks being the bricks there. It's a draw engine with Cyberdark Invasion, speeds up getting the Cyberdark Dragon via Cyberdark Impact by dumping materials with a fusion, substitutes fusion materials like Hex. I'm not running that here though. And that just speeds up getting to Cyberdark in Dragon, our big boat here. Cannon does not work as much as Cyberdark Claw, my personal favorite. Some people will disagree with me here, as if which one is better. I say Claw. Claw searches Cyberdark, it's treated as a Cyberdark, but Cybernetic Horizon because it's treated as a Cyberdark card. Cyberdark Impact, our generic protection card, Cyberdark Inferno, and Cyberdark Invasion, our Hornet. Lots of work on that alone with a single discard, so it's a great searcher in my opinion. As a battler, it allows for us to send Elder Entity Intis for a pop. It allows us search for a fusion spell with Chimera Phlasia, and a push for summoning Cyberdark in Dragon alone by sending more materials. From there, a single copy of Attachment Cyburn because we do not have Cyberdark Chimera, so Cyberdarkness Dragon is rarely seen in this build, so we don't need two copies to do the old switcheroo summoning it back. This card was a letdown for some, but it fixes an issue with the deck. It makes Cyberdarks 3000 attack beaters. It's also an extra light attribute, so we're not burning through Cyber Dragon Core. That's all the Murder Hornets, dragons. Speaking of Cyber Dragon Core, 3x of it, because it's a searcher, has more utility in the form of Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon acting as removal. That's all the monsters. We are purposely running light on them. 3x Overload Fusion. Here you read, have you read Cyberdark in Dragon? Like, let's take a look at that. That's a big boss. Unaffected by your opponent's activated effects, once per turn, you can equip one monster from either graveyard to this card. This card can attack a number of times each battle phase, up to the number of cards equipped to it. So it's kind of like a DD Crow, Towers, Chimera Tech Over Dragon, just Giga Boss. Like, it has 5,000 attack. That's the cap for the game at currently for written attack values. This is the card we want to get to. So we're running 3x of the fusion card to get to it, because getting these fusion materials onto the board is not going to happen. It's not going to be a common thing. We want to get to it ASAP. So we're also running Cyber Emergency for deck thinning. It's basically extra copies of Cyber Dragon Core, which is extra copies of everything else basically. Search is good, deck thinning is good. It also tricks Ash Blossom, which allows us to drop one of the Murder Hornets, dragons. Single copy of Cyberdark Impact. I just like this card. Cool in principle, but it summons a dysfunctional card. Cyberdark Invasion corrects this by creating a route to Cyber Dragon via the tribute mechanic. It would not normally exist as a route to get there. So just one of, since it's searchable while invasion's on the field by recycling Claw. 3x Cybernetic Horizon, as I mentioned before, the engine of the deck gets you 1/3 of the way to Cyberdark Dragon and sets the battler. Cyberdark's up. Cyberdark Impact is searchable. Cyberdark Impact is searchable with Claw, like I said, but this is a better search. After you start getting things going, you can get into Cyberdark Inferno, which adds additional protection, and that covers all the spells. We have 3 Heavy Dusters and 3 Cybernetic Overflow. Overflow is like it's another searcher, and it's also removal. Duster allows us to pop and get that search. We're also running 3 Infinite Impermanence. I'm mostly running it for the flavor of the art, honestly. It's a good card overall, but like, feel free to replace it with anything else. A copy of Metaverse to Thin. It's a second copy of Inferno, effectively. Always nice to waste an opponent's 1-for-1 card trade with a fake out. Summon limit. Because it's a control deck, and we need to slow things down because Cyberdarks are slow. And then, like I said, Cyberdark Invasion is just the good card. You want to be running 3 of this. I don't know why people are getting the inclination that it's at max at 2 of. It's at minimum of 2 of, because the 2 different effects can be activated in tandem if you have 2 copies. Which allows for that nice little, you can't touch this, I'm going to start looking through my whole entire deck and pulling out all my spells and traps. Like I said, it's a pretty amazing engine. Okay, we've put a down payment on a boat. That is Cyberdark Dragon, and we don't hate our daddy. Onward to the extra deck. 1 copy of Cyberdark Dragon, because once you get this out, you should win the game. 2 copies of each of its materials, because our opponent isn't dumb. A single copy of Cyberdarkness Dragon, because we're running multiple copies of Overload Fusion, so occasionally we're going to get that out. 2 copies of Mega Fleet Dragon. I would run 3 copies, but we don't want to run up against a machine deck with our pants down, so we're running a single copy of Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. Also, our 2 fusion searchers in the form of Predaplant Engine, Predaplant Chimera Phlasia, and Predaplant Verte Anaconda gets us access to Overload Fusion, the last piece of our fusion mechanic. And then as our ammo for our Cyberdarks during the battle phase, we have 3 copies of Elder Entity Intis and Psyflame Lord Omega to get everything back. Additionally, this acts as a protection against Dogmatica, because we can send Elder Entity Intis to pop something, and then Omega to kind of put it right back into the extra deck, so our opponent's not messing with our extra deck like they think they could. Onto the side deck. Feel free to edit this, but I'm running 2 copies of Kaiju's, more fusion materials because it allows us to get around Ash Blossom, because this is a search deck. More control just to lock down the opponent's extra deck. I have to add the credence. When you're running cards that aren't Cyberdarks, they can get really clunky. You need to either hard draw them, put them on the field, and let them get destroyed, or you need to send them off with cannon. So that can get really clunky and slow. So it's not something that you're going to be opening up with, so don't rely on this. More copies of Mega Fleet and Chimera Tech if we run into those decks that are really relying on them. Again, our search engine. Some more tech in here just to slow the game down in our favor and get rid of those massive negates that make Yu-Gi-Oh! This generation way too fast. Alright, onto the turbo deck. So, something I want to point out that a lot of people that are coming from the Cyber Dragon side of things is Cyber Darks do not have naturalized access to Cyber Dragon Infinity. And for a lot of people, that's why they run Cyber Dragons, is so they can have Infinity, because it's a scary card that warps the meta. Well, we don't have that, so we have to run a smaller package of Cyber Dragons in order to get to it. And the deck lists that I keep seeing, which try to combine the two, they're using the Cyber Dragon OTK variant of the deck because they see that Chimera can get access to Power Bond, so they want to beat things. That's not really how Cyber Dragons have ever actually played. They have almost always been a control deck with big beaters that they just happen to have to, control the control phase. The times when they have been in tournaments, it's been via those control methods. And the Cyberdarks themselves take kind of like a half roll and a low monster build. So the way that we're going to get to Infinity is with Dry. So we have Cyber Dragon Core, which we have access to via for Horizon, which we're running as many copies of as possible. And it's going to get us core to field. We're going to allow our opponent to do a play, which, is dangerous and not optimal, but it allows us to go core, Horizon, wait, get Dry, or if we have Dry in hand, wait for them to take out core or just get to the next turn, bring core back because it's going to be our only normal summon. We're not doing a ton of special summoning here. Play Dry, up level, and then go from there. When we're doing the Horizon plays, we can also send Hertz instead of another copy of Core, and that will get us Dry. Or we can get Core and then start setting up via Emergency to get Dry. But we only need a copy of Dry because Cyberdarks are a control deck by nature most of the time, so we want to use the mechanics that work best for Cyber Dragon traps. So the difference here that you're going to notice is Necrofusion. This is an amazing card when we add in a bunch of other fusion substitutes. So we can just hard draw these, and it provides a way for us to use Overload Fusion sooner. So we have like 6 copies. We can either just play on the field and have it be destroyed while we're playing defensively. But by turn 3 to 4, we have access to Cyberdark in Dragon. Another interesting play we have here is we're able to get at Cyber in Dragon via Cybernetic Revolution. Now, I love this play to go Horizon, search Core, get Cybernetic Revolution, set Necrofusion, opponent's turn, Revolution, get Cyber in Dragon with Core already, with Cyber Dark Dragon already being in the grave, use Core to get in Dragon and then fuse with Necrofusion. Or if it gets back to turn 3 at the earliest, we can Overload Fusion. Or if they didn't really do anything, we just play another monster, go into Predator Plant, and get Overload Fusion. So there's a lot of different ways that we can get at the Overload Fusion. And another thing we can do is toss King of the Swamp with hard draw or hard draw polymerization, and we can use that. That's another way of getting at it. And then we also have Cyberdark Impact, and then we have again the substitutes and the polymerization. We can go at it again. Same with Overload Fusions. There's just more flexibility in the Turbo variant when getting to Cyberdark in Dragon. Now, we are running, again, 3 copies of Overload Fusion, so Cyber Darkness Dragons here, but we're now running Necrofusion, which gives us access to Dragon of Red Eyes, or Red Eyes Dark Dragon. This is an amazing card, but what you're going to see in our sisters, the Cyber Dragons, is that they're running a copy of Red Eyes Red Eyes Fusion, and that works, but it also puts bricks in the deck when we can just go our normal way. And if we don't have Cyberdark in Dragon, we can actually just summon this because we have these acting as Dark Magician, these fusion substitute, and then all of our searchers are dragons. They're dragons. So we can bring this out, but we can't pop with it, but still a very powerful negator that's going to gain an attack. But that's basically all here that I wanted to cover, was how to build this deck without it bricking out on you because you're putting the wrong proportions in it. And really, honestly, it's run it like Cyber Dragon's traps. You're going to have minimal engines from the Cyber Dragons, and you're going to max out on the control elements of the Cyberdarks. The Cyberdarks are a quote-unquote helmet deck. And Cyberdark Invasion, let's see if I can bring it up here. Yeah, this card. It adds a lot more engine support. Same with Horizon. Yeah, I have no idea where it is. Okay, but that's my point. The deck's better than what people are saying. That's just my general take. I've seen all over YouTube lots of builds that are just, let's fuse the hell out of this deck and not interact with our opponent. A lot of test builds that aren't really doing anything where the opponent has a chance to play. And Cyberdarks have always been kind of a mid-tier, mid-game, mid-range deck, which are decks that usually do very well up until recent advent of break my board type Yu-Gi-Oh! That's kind of what put Cyberdarks on their ass, and where they stopped being kind of like a, I'm not going to say competitive, but fun casual deck. The new support puts them back kind of in that place where if the opponent is making something that's board breaking, like a bunch of negators, they're going to struggle against what this deck can do because it has a ton of search, absolutely ton of search. And that search is also going to be taking out in one-for-one type ways or just straight up pluses what the opponent can do. So I think it needs more cred. I think it's a flexible deck. I think there's more to it than what people are saying, and I think that people should respect this deck. If you like more from me, remember to like and sub. I'll be back again after the last card drops within the next 5 days. And then hopefully I'll have access to Chimera and I'll be able to do a review of the Cyberdark control build with virus control. So if you look forward to that, stay tuned. This has been Access Denied, signing out.